Title: Silence of St. Lyra. The snows came early that year, blanketing the mountains in a suffocating silence. By the end of October, only one trail remained passable through the northern range, and even that lay broken by landslides and drifts. A man named Alwyn, a historian of forgotten faiths, followed the last known map that marked the hidden monastery of St. Lyra, an order that vanished without record in 1842. He hiked for 3 days. His boots sank into untouched snow, his breath steaming like smoke from a dying fire. On the 4th morning, the wind fell completely. No birds, no wolves, just cold air that hung too still. He crested a ridge and saw the monastery below, entire, untouched, silent. 4 towers, domed center, a single gate. Its stones were black with frost, yet no snow covered its roof. Smoke curled from one chimney. No path led to the gate, but it was open. Inside, the walls were smooth stone, veined with red mineral that caught the dim light strangely. Candles burned in iron sconces. Not electric. Not modern. The air smelled of myrrh and salt. There were no sounds, no echoes, even of his own footsteps. He found rows of cells, each pristine. Beds made, robes folded, books stacked in silent devotion. In the dining hall, bowls of dried herbs sat beside full goblets of black wine. None of it decayed. A large painting spanned one wall. A woman with no face, seated in snow, surrounded by kneeling monks whose heads bowed so low their necks bent unnaturally. Alwyn recorded notes by hand. His devices failed. Camera, voice recorder, even his watch froze at 11:17 a.m. The library revealed nothing, blank pages, or symbols that shifted when glanced from the side. Behind the altar, he found a stair descending into the dark. He followed. Below, the air warmed. The stone walls became redder, more porous, like old coral. The candles flickered differently. The silence changed pitch. He found the ossuary. Thousands of bones, arranged in precise rows. Every skull marked with a horizontal cut across the brow. At the center, a stone basin full of dark liquid, still and unreflective. Something pulsed beneath it. He leaned closer. The liquid vibrated and showed an image, not of the room, but of the painting above. The faceless woman. But now she moved. When he looked up, a figure stood in the corridor. Robes black, hands clasped. No face. Just smooth, pale skin where eyes and mouth should be. The figure did not move. Alwyn backed away. The path behind him was gone. The room had changed. The walls shifted, subtly curved inward. He turned in place. There were now 3 exits where one had been. The candles flared once, then dimmed. He wondered for hours, or moments. Time fractured. The architecture repeated. Rooms mirrored others. One chamber held nothing but water, ankle-deep, warm, with breathing beneath. Another showed the hallway he had first entered, but reversed. He came upon his journal, resting on a table that had not existed. Pages filled in a handwriting he didn't remember, detailing actions he hadn't taken. He read one line aloud in his mind: "To remember is to be kept." The bells rang, 13 tolls, low and hollow with no source. With each, the walls throbbed. His skin grew colder. Finally, he entered the sanctuary again. The altar now faced a different direction. Behind it, another figure, seated, veiled, unmoving. Candles circled it in a perfect spiral. It raised no head, spoke no word, but his breath fled his lungs. He knelt without meaning to. The floor grew warm. The walls shimmered with movement like water. The silence pressed inward. He opened his eyes. He was seated on a bench, in the first cell. His journal sat beside him. His hands were folded in his lap. His robe, it was the robe from the cells. The mirror on the wall showed his face, but something behind his eyes had shifted. Footsteps echoed outside the cell. Another guest. Another seeker. The gate stood open again, and the monastery waited. Time passed differently within the stone walls. Days did not fall into night. Instead, a deepening hue darkened the hallways like bruises forming on the world. Alwyn's memory frayed in slow loops. He would wake in a new cell, on a bench, or standing mid-prayer without knowing how long he had been still. The corridors grew longer. In the mirror of the eastern cloister, he saw versions of himself kneeling. Some older, some smiling. One watched him directly. When he turned, the hall behind him was unchanged, but the air tasted faintly of ash. In the scriptorium, he found books that bled ink. He tried to copy a symbol, but his hand repeated it endlessly, filling page after page. The quill moved without pause. When he dropped it, his hand continued to trace it in the air. There was no more snow outside the windows. Only stillness. As if the world had paused its breath, waiting for a name to be spoken. He no longer needed food, or sleep, or speech. The monastery had taken that from him, piece by piece, replacing each with silence. One day, or maybe night, he followed a sound. A whisper of wind? A name half remembered? It led him to the bell tower. A narrow spiral staircase, once unnoticed. He ascended. The bell was enormous. Black and brass, engraved with runes and blank spaces. It did not move, but it thrummed with something deeper than sound. Something that shaped the silence below. He touched it. A voice filled his mind, not words, but memory. The moment his hand had first touched the monastery gate. The soft pull of snow underfoot. The first breath he took as the walls swallowed him. He understood. The monastery did not trap people. It remembered them, and in remembering, it reshaped them. Alwyn stood at the top of the tower, eyes reflecting the still valley. Below, the gates creaked. A new traveler, lost or searching, stepped forward, and the silence welcomed them home.